Hi friends, my name is Kenton Whitman, and together with my family, we aim to share wilderness skills, mindfulness practices, wild edible plants, family adventures, and skills that break you free from the limits of civilized life. Join us by subscribing to our channel and joining our YouTube family. Hello friends. If you're a very savvy observer, you may notice that this is the oyster tree that I did a video on just a couple of weeks ago, and it has suffered a change. The storm that we had recently took it down, and that is part of life. Change. Our human endeavors are often to control that change. You've probably experienced this in your own life. Our desire and our energies go towards taking this organic, messy world and trying to make it as ordered and as controlled as possible. Now that endeavor tends to set us up for some pretty negative stuff, because the truth of the world, as I said, is it's messy and organic. And when we try to lay down the rules to the world usually responds by adhering to the rules just enough to convince us that control works, and that all we need to do is amp up our control. And then the world will obey. But the reality is, it doesn't really work. And we end up feeling anxious and frustrated because our control is failing. But what if there was another way? And as usual, there is. We can try to control the world, or we can dance with the world. When we dance with the world, it feels completely different. Now it's fine to just say, oh, dance with the world, it'll be better. But how do we actually do that? One way to do that is to learn to reframe this whole concept of confidence being based on control, and instead make it confidence based on imagination, or confidence based on creativity. To illustrate this trick, I'm going to show a clip here of my daughter Mirabelle. She's been riding horses now for a few years, and it is her deep passion. I want you to look at her face as she's riding this horse and notice the calm confidence displayed there. Now, if you're familiar with my daughter Mirabelle, you've probably heard her speak about it on this channel, and for sure on her personal channel, which is still active on YouTube, but because YouTube will not allow comments on it because she's a minor, we haven't been putting any new videos. I will leave a link to her channel in the description of this video because there's a lot of great and really powerful content there. So again, if you're familiar with Mirabelle, you will know that she's shared that she has some anxieties in her life. Sometimes that anxiety can be paralyzing. Now, imagine her having to, well, this won't really scare her, but here's an example. Imagine her having to go out into a dark part of the forest that's a little scary at night to get something. And just thinking of that task alone could be intimidating. But what happens if she takes the thing that she's really confident about, the horse riding, and she uses that to reframe the experience that she's about to have? And she does this through the power of imagination. So instead of it being Mirabelle going out into this scary part of the woods to fetch this thing, she becomes a horse. She has super keen senses. She's super fast if she needs to run. Suddenly, she has taken the confidence of her horse connection and she's applied it to a seemingly unrelated situation. But in her mind, especially young, resilient, capable of imagination, it's quite easy for her to apply that confidence into this other situation, again, that is unrelated to horse riding, except in her mind. An example from my own life would be martial arts. That was something that as a teen and older, I was very passionate about and very confident about. And so I could take that confidence, and by broadening the context or my definition of what martial arts meant, away from just punches, kicks, and submissions, into a way of life or a way of living, then I could take that and I could apply that to, for instance, diet, inspiring me to eat more healthy because I wanted to be fit for my martial arts. Meditation, because I wanted my mind to be calm and non-reactive. Overall fitness, running, doing calisthenics, lifting weights, because I wanted again to be fit for the martial arts. I even started to be able to take that idea of martial arts in my life and apply it to personal relationships. If there was a situation with someone that had the potential for conflict, could I use the lessons of martial arts or that way of martial arts to approach that differently? The non-martial arts way is to just flail. And that would be the equivalent of just being reactive in that verbal exchange, for instance. But if I saw it in a martial arts context, I could see, oh, what are the movements they're making and how can we come to a harmony here where it doesn't have to be me against you, but rather we're taking each other's energies and molding them, melding them, blending with them in a way that, for instance, we'll see in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where it's not just about overpowering your opponent, but feeling what they're doing, being aware of their movements, and moving within that context. So what is it in your life? Are you very confident about mathematics? And you use your creativity to apply mathematics to all kinds of things in your life, places where you're not confident, maybe even your entire life. You take a conversation between two people. How can mathematics apply to that? But if you're deep into mathematics and you love the elegance and beauty of an equation, can you see these two elements, you and the person you're speaking with, and see it as an equation and see how it could become more elegant than it was at the beginning of the conversation? If you are an artist, how could you apply art to your life? Maybe to your posture, maybe to your speech, maybe to the way that you treat people, maybe to the way that you treat yourself. So in the comments, share what it is that you are most confident about in your life. Where's that thing, that passion, whatever it is that you just feel confident and strong in? And then how can you take that thing and apply it to seemingly unrelated parts of your life? If you share down below, we might be inspired, because I imagine some of you may have some places where you feel confident that seem like mathematics, for instance, unrelated to things like diet or your health or the way you interact with others. But then, again in the comments, how can you creatively apply your confidence in a way that is going to broaden the definition of that thing you're confident in so much that it encapsulates or encompasses other aspects of your life? I cannot wait to see what you share down in the comments. As usual, that is my favorite part of this whole video process, is these comments from you and learning from you and sharing ideas and stories and wisdom. All right, my friends, love to you all. We'll talk with you in the comments.